government has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthen healthcare through capital investment, administrative reform, and improve human resource management. Speaking to nurses recently, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness said, while progress has been made, he recognizes long-standing challenges remain.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the push for better healthcare infrastructure aligns with ongoing efforts by the Ministry of Health. He maintained that improved buildings, equipment, and a space remain critical to better patient outcomes.
In the last 10 years, the capital budget for health has been significant. Huge capital budget for health in terms of what we have spent on rehabilitating facilities, particularly primary care facilities, new hospitals, new equipment. There's no question, if you compare the last 10 years versus the previous 10 years before that, the capital budget would be multiple times what we have spent. We have also spent on improving the remuneration of nurses. Now, I'm not going to get into that argument as to whether or not it is enough or whatever. I mean, the fact is that it has substantially improved.
The concern, he noted, are not new, with patients long complaining about conditions in public facilities. Major capital projects are underway, though challenges persist.
Our view is that if we rapidly build out the capital side of health, it will have an impact on the care side of health. So a nicer waiting area may reduce frustration. More equipment for diagnosis reduces waiting time. They have been to some hospital facilities, and I could understand why people are frustrated. It's hot, it's crowded, and it's problematic.
The Prime Minister says the strategy allows services to continue before transitioning into modern spaces. Significant investment over the past decade support this approach. Dr. Holness says the plan is steady, coordinated, and aimed at long-term transformation.
We're also, we like to think that we are very studied in what we do, so we don't just make emotional responses. There are a lot of things that we could respond to emotionally, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work out logically. And so we try to be respectful of the emotional things and bring people to the logical understanding of how things would have to be.
Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
An appeal this afternoon to public and private operators to equip their vehicles with a fire extinguisher. The recommendation comes from the St. James Fire Brigade following a rise in motor vehicle fires. At the recent sitting of the St. James Municipal Corporation monthly meeting, Superintendent for the St. James Fire Department, Anton Morris, says when compared to the previous data, there was a noticeable increase.
Being the organization who promotes safety, we are asking all motorists to equip their motor vehicle with a fire extinguisher. Because a fire extinguisher, when used correctly, can effectively extinguish a fire in its incipient stage, minimizing damages and also losses.
Just recently, we had an incident on the Sun Valley Main Road. A mother and a child could have lost their lives because the vehicle in which she was traveling with her child caught fire. And she had no extinguisher. She was trying to beckon to the other drivers who were passing, and they did not have one as well. So I just want to endorse that point for persons to have a fire extinguisher.
Meanwhile, for the month of March, the St. James Fire Department received 111 calls. That's 6.7% more than April. But when compared to the same month last year, there was a 24% reduction in calls. And it's time for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. To the midday news, it's now time for the Business Minute. President of the Young Entrepreneurs Association, Cordell Williams, says she met with the Public Procurement Commission yesterday to address bureaucratic challenges limiting small businesses' access to government contracts. She explained that members of the MSME sector have long complained about difficulties accessing the 20% share of the government contracts that they were promised by successive administrations since 2019. President of the Young Entrepreneurs Association, Cordell Williams, says she met with the Public Procurement Commission yesterday to address bureaucratic challenges limiting small businesses' access to government contracts. She explained that members of the MSME sector have long complained about difficulties accessing the 20% share of the government contracts that they were promised by successive administrations since 2019. Further afield, it's the deadline for most federal and state income tax returns. The IRS estimates more than 50 million Americans benefited from at least one of the deductions Congress approved last year. Experts advise. And here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In this evening's Health Report, we'll look at hydrocele.
Usually it's a condition that will go away on its own or self-limiting, and it usually will go away by the time the child is around 2 years old. For those that do not go away or are large, causing some discomfort, then we operate on those.
That's the Health Report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Monitor swelling in the scrotum regularly for changes in size. Seek medical review if pain, redness, or rapid growth happens. Most infants' hydroceles resolve naturally within the first 2 years, and surgery is only needed if it persists or causes symptoms.
Time now for the top stories from around the world.
In the region, the High Court of Trinidad and Tobago has ordered the freezing of all local property associated with Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps under provisions of the Anti-Terrorism Act. The orders, published in the Trinidad and Tobago Gazette, marked one of the most far-reaching applications of the Anti-Terrorism Act in recent years. The High Court orders directed that all property owned or controlled locally by the three organizations, whether wholly, jointly, directly, or indirectly, must be immediately frozen. And on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump says China is very happy the U.S. is working to open the Strait of Hormuz. In his post on social media, Trump says China has agreed not to send weapons to Iran. Last week, U.S. intelligence had indicated China was preparing to deliver new air defense systems to Iran within the next few weeks. Trump plans to visit Beijing next month for talks with China's President Xi Jinping. And those were the top stories from around the world.
And we head to our final break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.